Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get together live here on Facebook, where we take a look at headlines from our city, our state, and our country, and we take a look at your comments and ideas and suggestions. We combine all this knowledge so that we can connect with our city, Puerto Vallarta, as a community of English-speaking locals. Today is Wednesday, January 25th, and as always, it is a pleasure to connect with you on this beautiful morning and see what everybody is up to. Today, we have all kinds of interesting news to share with you. But before we do that, as always, a quick reminder, if you are new to watching live, write the word new in your comment and we'll give you a nice little welcome. If you have something really important that you wish to share with everybody else, it helps me a great deal if you add a capital letter Q at the beginning of your comment. Let's get started. Okay, so this is an interesting one, or at least I think it's interesting because it has everything to do with this business of normalizing restaurants and bars as this relates to the fees that they have to pay and also to the new cigarette and tobacco laws that have been implemented in the country. Some restaurants are restaurants, some restaurants are bars, some restaurants are both. Some bars, well, it seems to be a simple question whether you're a restaurant or a bar, but things got complicated way back at the beginning of the pandemic. If you remember, a number of bars switched their municipal licenses to become restaurant bars as they were not able to serve alcohol by itself. I don't know if you remember those lovely days. Well, now the municipality is working with Canirac, the Restaurant Chamber of Commerce, to try to undo this mess because restaurants are complaining and bars are complaining about the new license fees, but they haven't normalized their permits. And until and unless restaurants and bars figure out exactly what they are and and the administration is able to normalize these labels, they won't be able to pay their license, and therefore the municipality will not be able to move ahead with implementing the new tobacco laws, among other things. So if you are a restaurant or a bar or a restaurant bar or whatever, you can expect city inspectors to come and check you out and make sure that you are navigating with the proper flag. Now, traffic cops around the city seem to be having a field day when it comes to stopping vehicles, whether it's a motorcycle or a car, ticketing unlawful drivers. But they are putting an emphasis, apparently, on motorcycle riders, not drivers. Do you drive a motorcycle or do you ride a motorcycle? Well, they're focusing on motorcycles because people are either not wearing helmets or they don't have license plates or they're not respecting their lanes. This, of course, stems from an increase in motorcycle-related accidents, but there are always those who think it's just the police looking for bribe money. Regardless, make sure that if you are driving around town, you are driving responsibly. You have your seatbelt on, and if you're riding a motorcycle, make sure you have your motorcycle in order if you wish to avoid a ticket. And just like that, we are ready for the weather. What? Wubba Lubba Recast. Now, that means absolutely nothing to me, but that's what Snarky Weather says. It is 24 degrees, feels like 24. Humidity is low at 47%. We have a temperature of 74 degrees Fahrenheit. You still want me to repeat the Fahrenheits, right? Just checking. Our weather forecast for today says clear through the day with a high of 28 and a low of 17. Tomorrow, Thursday, clear through the day with a high of 29 and a low of 18. And Friday, partly cloudy through the day with a high of 30 and a low of 19. And that is our weather forecast for this hump day and the days to come. We mentioned the Bucerías patron saint fiestas a number of times over the past week, and apparently they were quite successful. There was a water procession in which over 100 vessels participated, along with a variety of activities that took place right around the main plaza of the town. Of course, this particular patron saint celebration has come and gone, but we are, of course, in the habit of keeping track of these as they happen in different towns around Puerto Vallarta. And also, there are several colonias within the city that also celebrate their own patron saint. These are among the most traditional celebrations one can attend, so we will continue to keep an eye on those and inviting you to give them a go because they are as traditional as they get. The Jalisco Philharmonic has announced the first season of this year with 8 different programs that will be presented during the months of February and March. Yay! Get more excuses to go to Guadalajara. Performance for the Philharmonic usually take place on Thursday evenings, and then the same program is repeated on Sunday matinees. Tickets begin at 100 pesos per person. So if you enjoy classical music, at 100 pesos for the worst seats on the theater, I mean, it's a bargain. I think the highest priced seats are like 350 pesos, which is half of going to Mamma Mia at Encanto. I mean, at Act 2 at the very least. So consider the Jalisco Philharmonic if you find yourself in Guadalajara within the next couple of months. And a new favorite of mine, singer Sahid. Sahid is continuing to perform at Mamacaguamas and other places, but I'm so grateful that Mamacaguamas Tacos and Beer takes the time to create a Facebook calendar event or event calendar or whatever, so that we can keep an eye on these performances. I like Sahid because he combines music that is popular with English-speaking folk and also traditional Mexican songs. And of course, the last event that I want to tell you about is the International Charro Championships. It's right around the corner. It's starting on January 31st and continues until February 5th. This is a lovely event because it's the Mexican sport, charreria. It's a great opportunity to find out what is going on with the sport. There are competitors from all over the country and also from other countries as well. We're flying through this broadcast. And why are we doing that? Because we are walking. So I found myself in El Centro yesterday. I went to do a technical rehearsal of my lecture tonight, and I figured I'm going to walk back home. But instead of taking the main street, I took the back avenue down Hidalgo Street and then continuing north, avoiding the crowds, avoiding the traffic. And this is a walk that I enjoy quite a bit. It doesn't have any built in narration, so if we are going to have commentary, it's going to come from me right now and right here. Now, of course, everybody loves to walk the Malecon. The Malecon is beautiful, it's scenic, but then Hidalgo is one block in from Juarez. It is the first street that has no public transportation going through it. So this street gives you a glimpse of what the town used to be when it was smaller. The street is narrow, it's cobblestoned. The sidewalks can be difficult to navigate because they are narrow as well. I don't know that I would want to do this street with a wheelchair, but still, um, it is a nice and mostly quiet street. And of course, we're going to continue down the street all the way to Parque Hidalgo. Hola.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
That was Chayo, my former hairstylist. Of course, I don't have much to do with a hairstylist anymore, but she saw me and I love running into her every now and then. So, what can you find along this street in case you haven't walked it? Well, you can find a handful of restaurants. There are a few stores, at least in this part of the street. Later on, we get into the gallery area of downtown Puerto Vallarta, where you can find lots of art galleries. But see, here's an example. You find a narrow sidewalk and you have to get on the street. Oh, right here on the left, that's El Campanario, right in front of the Church of Guadalupe. El Campanario is an awesome, awesome Mexican restaurant that I totally recommend. There's City Hall. And of course, here is our Church of Guadalupe, looking pretty and majestic. It was a beautiful day yesterday. And that white building that we're just looking at, that is where the new church museum and offices are located. They have occasional exhibitions that are worth checking out. And of course, as you are going near the church, there are all kinds of little stores that sell religious paraphernalia and souvenirs. Ding 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 ding. People see you walking around with a camera and a microphone, they get the urge to perform. I love it. Coming up in the right hand corner is La Cigale, a very popular French little restaurant. El rapero. Ay, ay, ay. And of course, there's Telas Parisina on the right hand side. And one of the many accesses up to El Cerro, or to Gringo Gulch, rather. As you know, those are steps. Each street has its own personality going up those steps. There's several of them, and they're all very unique. I tell you, Telmex is playing mind games with me this week, and I don't appreciate it. Let me apologize first and foremost, and then let me resume your the walking tour that we were doing. And I'm going to. We stopped at about 4:41. I did take note of that. Dun, 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 dun. Right around there. This is what, the third day in a row in which we have a disruption in our service. This really bums me out, but it is what it is. Thank you very much for coming back, David. I really appreciate it. And hopefully, other friends will continue to join us back. There's Gabby's restaurant on the right hand side. Needless to say, we are going to upload this walk on its own uh, to YouTube so that you can enjoy it later on. Curtis loves Gabby's. I haven't been to Gabby's in a long time, but it is a lovely restaurant. Elenita, thank you very much for your comment. I'm sorry to hear that you missed PV. Hopefully, you'll have a chance to come back sometime in the near future. Unfortunately, this time around, I was not able to recover the previous broadcast, so your early comments are missing. So if you had some important comments that you wish to share with us or questions that you may have that you asked before we started the walking tour, kindly write them again, and I'll be so very happy to look at them. Dave says Gabby's is good and used to be more affordable, not so much anymore. Again, I haven't been in a while, so I couldn't comment on that. See, this is what I like about this street. You see some of the more traditional buildings still remain, like this casa on the right-hand side. This particular property has been a number of things at different times. I don't know what it is right now, whether it's a residence or a restaurant or a what. I don't see any labels in front of it. Oh, thank you very much, John. John says, I called Carlos Slim and asked him to get his stuff together. Thank you very much for that, Mark. I did see this question earlier on. There is a small parking lot around the corner from the hotel on the tiny, tiny little side street, but I don't know how you go about being allowed in or out. You would have to ask at the hotel. Jonathan went to the Garden Club Gala. I was invited to it, but unfortunately, I had other plans, and I was not able to go. But I'm sure it was a lovely event. Oh, this is interesting. This is very interesting to me, Dave, because I have noticed, and this is nothing that I've done, I have noticed that sometimes your comments get obscured by Facebook, and I don't know exactly why this happens. Um, it's definitely not something that I have set up that way. Um, but yes, I've noticed this is the case. So here we cross the street and we continue. There is a Peruvian restaurant right on that corner that I've been meaning to go and check out. Um, see, I can see this without a problem, and so I don't know what it is, Dave. I Please don't take it personally, but sometimes I notice that your comments go obscure when I'm reviewing comments. I have to to put them back on the screen. So we are getting closer to where the galleries are located, but you probably already know that. Thank you for that, Christy. Yes, I noticed that comment went by. Um, and I haven't had a chance to go to the new Huarique. I know that it is located behind the stadium, but it is one of so many restaurants that I would love to have time and budget to check out. And of course, we are walking now along Guadalupe Sanchez Street. Art galleries on the left hand side. And of course, the empire that Café de Artistas is on the right hand side, an entire block. Now, now, now. Sweet Caroline. Albert. So good. So good. Oh, dear. Check out this mural coming up on the left hand side. I think I even tilted my camera. Woo! Yes. Of course, we're in the heart of El Centro's art gallery area. And if I recall correctly, I turned around to look at the facade of Café des Artistas. Yes, I did. And there it is. It's so nice to see that Café des Artistas has commissioned local artists to paint all those gorgeous murals. I know I farted. Yes, outside voice. I know that sometime within the next 2 blocks, some wind escaped me. And if I get to hear it, I'm just going to giggle and blush like nothing you've ever seen. Maybe I should make some conversation. Oh, dear. There's the infamous Peepees. A lot of people like this restaurant. And coming up in the next corner on the right hand side is Colectica, the art gallery that specializes on traditional Mexican folk art of the highest quality. This is no imitations or cheap stuff. It is owned by Kevin Simpson, who also is very knowledgeable about the Huichol and can tell you a lot of things about the different artists that he represents. And that is Colectica. We should call this the pandemic walk, because if you're trying to avoid large crowds while walking through El Centro area, this is absolutely perfect. And of course, that's Hotel Rosita in the very background. So we are at the end of the Malecon. I continued for a couple of extra blocks. And at this point, I figured, do I want to continue all the way to to Soriana, which is where I was headed, or do I want to stop the walk at Parque or Plaza Hidalgo? And I chose to do the latter. Christy, your comment reminds me of the way I feel about Guadalajara. Sometimes I just want to hop on a bus and spend an afternoon in Guadalajara, but it doesn't work that way. Thank you very much for that comment, Curtis. What I usually do when I upload the walks to YouTube is, instead of narrating them, I add captions to them so that you can really take in the sights and sounds of the city, and I embed the captions on the walks. And since we're nearing the end of the walk, let me quickly scroll and take a look at some comments that you may have left here that I have not looked at. Here, I just took a left-hand turn onto Parque Hidalgo, which is 2 blocks down the street. Lisa is correct here. Between boutique hotels and Airbnbs in El Centro and El Cerro, there are a lot of quaint little properties where one can choose to stay. Dave, I am sorry to see that you called Soriana Sorry Anna. I wonder what they did to you. I love shopping at that store. And Sean, Mama Caguamas is right around the corner to the right, of course. Sean's wonderful little restaurant where Sahid plays. And I think I noticed in the earlier broadcast that Gina mentioned that Sahid is also playing at Whiskey Kitchen, which is a good thing to know. And here we are, right across the street from the upper level of Parque Hidalgo. Right on, Christy. You are absolutely right. Sean O'Brien, and great tacos and beer to the right. That would be Mama Caguamas. Great selection of beer at Mama Caguamas, and great tacos, of course. And that's Hotel Rosita, right in the back of the park, of the plaza. And this brings us, if I recall correctly, to the end of the walk. Yes, I just did one loop-de-loop. And there you have it. This, of course, brings us not only to the end of the walk, but also to the end of our broadcast for today. It's time to get ready for my lecture this afternoon. I hope I'll see some of you there. If not, I hope I will see you again tomorrow morning with more coffee and more headlines. Have an awesome day today.